1380, as near as the experts can place it. One of the few surviving examples of early secular plate, made for the kings of France and given by Francois Ier to Henry VIII on the field of the cloth of gold.
It's a splendid gift, don't you think so, Bunny?
Oh, yes. Why the St. Agnes cup?
Well, as you see, it's decorated with scenes from the life and martyrdom of St. Agnes.
Well, she had a pretty bad time of it.
She certainly had. Even before she was martyred, it was no fun.
Poor Agnes.
Queen Elizabeth is supposed to have had alterations made to the cup, but not, I think, to Agnes.
How did it come into private hands?
Oh, Elizabeth gave it to one of her favorites, and then it was sold and resold for ever-increasing sums of money.
It is extraordinarily beautiful. It's so rich and yet so chaste.
That's why we thought it such a shame it should go out of the country to some Yankee millionaire, especially in Jubilee year.
Who's we?
Well, Father was chairman of the organizing committee that acquired the cup.
For my sins.
Father is chairman, or president, of practically everything. They just naturally choose him.
I'm sure they're very sensible to do so.
Oh, sensible, yes. Father is the most sensible man in the whole world. Aren't you, Father?
Alice flatters me, like a good daughter.
Mr. Raffles?
Thank you.
Mr. Manders?
Thank you.
Of course, your father was the best president the MCC ever had.
Oh, was he?
Oh, he certainly knows the game.
He knows most games, though he never played cricket in his life.
Amazing.
He's an amazing man. He knows most things and has never done any of them.
Thank you.
He's read everything and has never written a line. Oh, there's no better brain in the House of Lords, and he's never opened his lips there.
A whale for theory and a sprat for practice. Eh, what?
I'm sure he's quite capable of practice if it's necessary. Do you play cricket for England yourself, Mr. Manders?
No, I don't actually.
What do you do?
Nothing.
And that, I hope, will teach you not to cross swords with Lady Alice.
I wasn't crossing swords. I simply said...
Something rude about her father, or that she took to be rude.
It was a sort of feeble little joke.
Lady Alice is deliciously pretty.
Yes, I agree.
And her father is a great man.
Yes.
Not the subject for your feeble little jokes.
Look, I am sorry I said it.
He is chairman of the committee, which bought the St. Agnes Cup for the nation.
Yes, what did you think of the cup?
I think it is the most beautiful thing I have ever seen.
Do you?
So I'm going to steal it.
What?
I want to feast my eyes on it. I want to look at it without having to drag all the way down to the British Museum. I want to see it there.
There? But you couldn't keep that cup, and you couldn't sell it.
You know, Bonnie, the older I grow, the less I think of your so-called precious stones. I mean, when did they ever bring in half their market value in pounds, shillings, and pence? There was the first little crib we ever cracked, the Loch Maben tiara, over £1,000. That thing was worth. How many hundreds did we actually get for it? And the Melrose diamonds weren't much better.
So what could you do with the cup?
I could melt it down into a nugget and bring it home from the USA.
And then?
Make them pay up for it in hard cash across the counter of the Bank of England. You can make them, you know.
Well, how much would it be worth?
What's a nugget? I know. £1,000, I'm only guessing.
But the risk of stealing it from the British Museum.
Ah, but the risk. The risk is half the fun. Anyway, Barney, I mean, we might go and have a look at it. What do you think?
We've already had a look at it.
Let's have another look.
Only a look.
Only a look.
Nothing more.
Nothing more.
When?
Tomorrow, if you like.
I suppose I shall have to walk up those steps. Confounded nuisance.
I'll help you up them, sir.
Then you can put me down on the bench inside and go back for the bath chair. We'll need it for the corridors.
Yes, sir, I'll do that.
Damn long corridors they have in this place, if I remember right. Oh, thank you,
Yes,
young
sir.
man.
There you have.
Thank you very much. Damn long corridors and damn few places to sit down. That's very kind of you, young man. More than I can count. Right. Let's try this one down here. Stop, James, stop. Back up a bit so I can ask that fella. Go on, back up a bit, back up. This chap will do. Excuse me. Are we right for the St. Agnes Cup?
Oh, yes, sir. Straight along as you are, sir.
Are you sure?
The room's at the end of the corridor, sir. You can't miss it.
Are you sure I can't miss it? I've been misdirected enough for one day. On, James, on. Go on, James, on. Find the damn thing. Did you count the number of paces?
139 from the vestibule to here.
We could do it in 20 seconds if we had to.
Without the bath chair.
We shall leave that behind in part payment.
Ah, at last we appear to have found it. That's it. Over there, James. Over there. Oh, it's beautiful. Beautiful. Don't you think that's the most beautiful thing you ever saw in your life, Constable?
It's not for me to say, sir. I'm just employed to guard it.
Guard it, eh? I should like to steal it.
You'd better try, sir.
What? You're gonna run me in, are you? That'll be a joke, my hat.
Didn't say as I was, sir, but that's queer talk from a gentleman like you, sir, in the British Museum.
I simply said I should like to steal it, and so I should. It's so beautiful.
Ah, yes.
So beautiful, I should like to have it for me own.
I dare say there's many as feels like that, sir.
Exactly, and I simply say what I feel. I trust you don't object to that, do you?
Oh, well, Lord, sir, of course not. You do what you like.
I must doubt if a valuable thing like that is safe in a glass case like this.
Safe enough as long as I'm here, sir.
Oh, but is one man enough, eh? What do you think, James?
Oh, yes.
What?
I should say so.
Well, you're a fool, James, you're a fool.
Yes, sir, if you say so.
You appear to be single-handed, is that right?
I'm not single-handed, sir. You see that seat by the door?
Huh?
One of the attendants sits there all day long.
Sits there all day long, does he? Where's he now?
Oh, talking to another attendant outside. If you listen, sir, you'll hear him for yourself.
Oh, you mean the fellow who was there with the billiard cue when we came in?
Oh, that's not a billiard cue, sir. That's a pointer.
It ought to be a javelin. It ought to be a poleaxe.
Why, sir?
The public treasure ought to be better guarded than this. I shall write to the Times about it. You see if I don't.
Oh, Lord bless you, sir. I'm all right. Don't you bother about me.
I'm not bothering about you. I am bothering about that cup. Why, you don't even have a truncheon.
Oh, not likely to want one neither, sir. You see, it's early as yet. In a few minutes, these rooms fill up. And there's safety in numbers, as they say.
Ah. Soon fill up, will it?
Any minute now, sir.
Good.
It isn't often as empty as long as this, sir, but it's the Jubilee, I suppose. People think more about the celebrations.
All the same, I will not have unnecessary risks run with the nation's property. I shall still write to the Times. I shall write today.
I just have to blow my whistle, sir, and the attendants come running in at the door.
Oh, yeah. Yes, and supposing you can't blow your whistle, eh? What then, eh?
And why would that be, sir?
Well, there might be 100 reasons for it. I appear to have dropped my muff. I wonder if you could you possibly give me a hand with that? Could you? Oh! Catch him, buddy. Put him on that chair by the door. Have a look down the corridor and see if the attendants have heard. Right, come on, buddy. All right, James, we've seen everything we came to see. I think we might safely be on our way. Just look at that fella, disgraceful, sleeping on the job. Right, steady as she goes, James. Steady as she goes. Stop, James, stop. I want to speak to this fella.
Oh, enjoy the St. Agnes Cup, did you, sir?
Yes, yes, I did. Now then, are we going in the right direction for the prehistoric saloon?
Oh, yes, sir. Keep to the right here, sir. And the first stairs you come to, up them. Oh, well, it's at the top of the stairs, sir.
Stairs? More stairs? The whole building's full of damn stairs.
Yes, there are a few of them here, sir.
Yes, there are. Now, if I get to the top of these stairs, can I work my way round to the Egyptian part?
Indeed you can, sir.
All right, come on then, James. Let's find these stairs. That's it. Slow down a bit, James. Yes. Steady as she goes. James, will you slow down? We'll leave the chair in the vestibule, then you can go as fast as you like.
Come! Charing Cross, please. Right, sir.
Hello.
Where the devil are you driving us?
Charing Cross.
You idiot, I said King's Cross. Round your spin and drive like blazes till we miss a train.
King's Cross. Righto, sir.
There's a train to York. We can book on that. Then we'll slope through the subway to the Metropolitan line and get home via Baker Street.
When do we take these things off?
In the gents of Baker Street.
Not until I have told you frankly and exactly what I think of you and your latest deed.
What was wrong with it?
The thing that is always wrong. The same thing.
I thought it went rather well.
You make one plan and you tell me another.
I didn't. Not today, Bunny. I swear it.
We were going there for a preliminary reconnoitre. Nothing more to investigate the possibilities.
That's right.
So why on earth did you go and do what you did?
Bunny, have you never felt the temptation of the moment? It was a chance in 100,000. We might have gone there every day for the rest of our lives and never again been alone in the room with the attendant out and chatting in the corridor at one and the same time. Bunny, it was a gift from the gods. Not to have taken it would have been flying in the face of Providence.
All right. Oh, if that's why you did it, then I'll forgive you.
Forgive me, rather, for the sake of St. Agnes. Oh. Oh, doesn't she look well up there?
It'll be an enormous weight off my mind when you've got her melted down and disposed of.
Melted down?
Yes.
Who said I was going to melt it down?
You did.
I deny it.
You said you'd melt it down into a nugget and bring it home from the United States.
I said that I could melt it down, not that I would.
Well, that's a wretched quibble.
In deadly earnest, then, to have taken it was a crime against the laws of the land, but to destroy it would be an offence against God and art, and may I be spitted on the vein of St. Mary Abbots if ever I commit it.
What? Will you wait till you see what they say in the evening papers?
They say that the accomplice who pushed the bath chair was a middle-aged man of blackguardly appearance and criminal type. Hits you off rather neatly, wouldn't you say, Bunny?
It means my disguise was good.
Nothing can disguise the essential you. Lord Thornaby, when he was appraised of the crime, said to our reporter, "This is a sad day for England. We had striven to keep this treasure for the nation, and now all our work is undone by a common sneak thief." I don't care for that. I thought our theft was decidedly uncommon, didn't you?
Anything else about Thornaby?
Yes. He is going to give all assistance possible to Scotland Yard in their task of tracking down the criminal. Is he now? He's a great man.
And he has a deliciously pretty daughter.
Yes, he has, by Jove. Bunny. I've an idea after your own heart. I think I know where I can place it after all.
You mean the cup?
Yes, I do.
Then I congratulate you.
Thanks.
On the recovery of your senses.
Oh, thanks galore.
And what is your idea, pray?
You've been so confoundedly unsympathetic about this whole thing, I don't think I'm going to tell you about my scheme until after I've carried it out.
As usual, that'll be quite time enough.
It's no good getting shirty with me, Bunny. You have an important part to play in the scheme.
What?
You have to go out first thing in the morning and buy me a big box of biscuits.
My dear fellow, what kind?
Any sort of biscuits you like. Only they must be Huntley and Palmer's, and absolutely the biggest box they sell.
What on earth do you want biscuits for?
No questions, Bunny. You do your part, and I'll do mine. Congratulate me. I've done it.
You done what?
As you wished. I have placed the cup.
How much for? How much for?
Now, let me think. Had a couple of cabs. And the postage cost me a tenner. Registration was an extra twopence. That's... Yes, the whole thing must have cost me exactly 5 and 8.
Yeah, well, it cost you, but how much did you get for it?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Off crimson cent.
Well, I'm not greatly surprised, though it's a bit of a blow. I never thought it had a market value, and I told you so in the beginning.
Yes, you did.
So what have you done with the thing?
I've given it to the Queen.
What?
As a Jubilee present.
You haven't.
Well, I've sent it to her private secretary, Sir Arthur Bigg, if that will do for you. I thought they might take rather too much stock of me at the GPO if I addressed it to the Sovereign herself.
Well, that's why the biscuit tin?
Yes. I drove over to St. Martin's le Grand with it and registered the box into the bargain. Do a job properly if you're going to do it at all.
But why on earth do such a thing at all?
My dear Bunny, we have been reigned over for 60 years by infinitely the finest monarch the world has ever known. The world is taking the present opportunity of signifying the fact for all it is worth. Every nation is laying the best it has to offer at her royal feet. Every class in the community is bringing her its gifts. Except ours, the criminal class. I have tried to remove one reproach from our fraternity, one blot from our solid discussion.
Well, supposing they trace it to us?
Well, there's not much to grab hold of in a biscuit box by Huntley and Palmer's line with the day's newspapers. And I wrote nothing that could possibly be traced. I simply printed 2 or 3 words upon a virginal postcard.
Well, Raffles, I must say you always were a sportsman, and you always will be.
Bunny? The Queen. God bless her.
God bless her.
Hello, Bunny. Good morning. Come in. What's the trouble?
This.
The Right Honourable the Earl of Thornaby, KG, requests the honour of your company at dinner. Very nice, too. You will get a splendid dinner. Or the noble Earl will belie a European reputation.
Yes, but read what else it says.
At 7:45 for 8 o'clock.
No, down the bottom.
To meet the members of the Criminologists Club.
Yes. Well, who are the criminologists and where's their house? Because there's no such club on the list in Whittaker.
The criminologists, my dear Bunny, are too few to have a local habitation and too select to tell their name in Garth. They are merely so many students of contemporary crime who meet and dine periodically at each other's houses.
And your friend Thornaby is one of them?
My friend Thornaby is. I'm not in the least surprised to say. Their chairman.
Well, what do you make of it?
Well, I do hope you shall accept. I certainly shall.
Oh, you mean you've been invited too?
I'm delighted to say I have.
Well, why have they invited you?
People do occasionally invite me to dinner.
Yes, but the Criminologists Club.
Well, they're studying the influence of crime On sports, where the professionalism and the money motive necessarily bring crime in their train, that sort of thing. It's rather in my public line.
Well, in yours, if you like, yes, but it's not in mine. No, Raffles. They've got their eye on us both, and they mean to put us under the microscope, or they never would have pitched on me.
I must wish you were right, man. It was such fun.
What?
It may console you to hear that it was I who gave them your name. You? Yes, I told them you were a far keener criminologist than myself.
I am?
Yes, I said that you were fascinated by crime. How splendid that they've taken my hint and decided to invite you too.
They are on the track of that cup.
Well, you only have to inquire at Buckingham Palace.
Well, wherever the cup is now, they can still arrest us for pinching it.
It would be damned unsporting of them, but I agree, the police are not always as good sports as they might be.
Well, for once, I'm not worried about the police, but I'm confoundedly worried at the thought of these criminologists.
Thornby House, Park. That's just on the corner of Mine Street.
Yes, it is.
Can you see it from your bedroom windows?
I should think you can. Back of it, why?
No reason at all. Let's go and have a look.
Just looks like the back of a house to me.
Yes, I suppose it does. Ah, that's better.
Well, I'll be in the sitting room if you want me.
I shan't want you. I shall be quite happy to sit here Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Ad libitum. Cup of coffee, might not go amiss.
I must go home and dress.
Oh, yes. Yes, tonight's the night.
Yes, will you call for me on your way?
Yes, if you want me to.
What time?
Oh, well, we're bidden for 7:45 for 8 o'clock. It can't take much more than, say, 5 minutes from your place. Well, 7:45.
Right.
I'll be there.
It's just that I'd feel better if I go there with you.
Wait, without fail?
Thanks, Raffles.
Not at all. Ah.
Has a bet on it, with Freddie Vereker.
Oh, yes?
Freddie can't come, I hear. Of course, it won't be won or lost tonight. Ha! Do you know the dear chap thinks he's been invited as a quitter?
I don't believe he's the other thing. I believe it's all bunkum.
I think you'll find it's more than that.
I wouldn't put him in one of your books.
Exactly like his mother.
Yeah, I think
It's amazing how few batsmen, even of the first class, can spot the ball which you toss just 6 inches higher into the air. Oh, yeah.
Mr. Manders.
Ah, Mr. Manders, how do you do? Delighted you could come.
It's very good of you to invite me.
I believe you know my daughter, Alice.
Good evening, Mr. Manders.
Good evening, Lady Alice.
Mr. Raffles, of course.
Yes, of course. Hello, buddy.
You promised to pick me up on your way.
Oh, did I? I must have forgotten.
Mr. Raffles has been explaining how he hoodwinks people.
What?
When he's bowling.
Oh, yes.
My daughter has insisted on being my hostess tonight.
A charming hostess.
But you must come and meet the other members. We're rather a small handful, I'm afraid, but then we are a small club. May I introduce Lord Selby, the High Court judge, Mr. Manders.
How do you do?
How do you do?
Sir Ernest Kingsmill, QC, Mr. Manders.
How do you do?
How do you do?
And Mr. Parrington, whose novels no doubt you've read.
Oh, indeed I have.
Mr. Manders.
How do you do? So you're the famous Mr. Manders?
Famous? Oh, what for?
For being the friend and associate of Mr. Raffles.
Dinner is served.
Shall you?
Yes,
Did you go to
always enjoyed
Mr. Raffles was telling me about that poor fellow who suffered the extreme penalty last March. It was a great end, gentlemen, a great end. It should take its place among the most glorious traditions of the gallows. Do tell them, Mr. Raffles. I'm sure it'll be as new to my friends as it was to me.
Lady Alice permits.
Oh, of course. I insisted on being here. You must think of me as a man.
That's impossible, Lady Alice.
Well, then, as a criminologist.
Ah.
The story, Mr. Raffles.
Oh, I tell the tale as I heard it told. It was never in the newspapers, I believe. You may remember the great excitement over the test matches that were being played out in Australia. Well, it seems the result of the crucial game was expected on the condemned man's last day on Earth, and he couldn't rest until he knew it. We pulled it off, if you recollect, and he said it would make him swing happy.
Yes, but tell him what else he said.
Well, when the chaplain remonstrated with him on his excitement over a mere game of cricket at such a time when he should be thinking of repentance, they say he replied, "Why, it's the first thing they're all going to ask me at the far end."
I like it.
Very good.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I thought that man would die game.
Why? Did you know anything about him, then?
I led for the crown. You might almost say I measured the poor man's neck.
In itself, I've heard it was not a sympathetic case.
Not a bit.
Must have been a comfort to you.
Would have been to me, but Kingsmill here's a callous devil.
Well, it's not my business to have feelings.
Ah? Well, I'd have been very sorry to have had a hand in hanging Peckham and Scott the other day.
Why those two particularly?
Because they never intended to kill that old lady.
They strangled her in bed with her own pillowcase.
I don't care. They didn't break in for that. They never thought of scragging her.
Just of innocent burglary.
Yes, and the silly old woman made a noise and one of them tied too tight. I call it jolly bad luck on them.
The sort of thing that could have happened to anybody.
Sort of thing that could have happened to any burglars. I admit they were burglars, but that's all.
Quiet, harmless, well-behaved burglars in the peaceful exercise of their humble avocation.
Yes, Thornaby, if you like.
Well, Selby didn't think so, did you, Selby?
I did not.
Did you actually...
Yes, I was their judge.
Of course, there must be many a burglar you've restored to his friends and relations, Kingsmill.
Well, let's say many a poor man who has been charged with burglary. It's not quite the same thing, you know.
I don't think reputations are ever undeserved.
Sorry, champagne went up my nose.
In any case, many is an exaggeration. I never touched criminal work in town.
Well, it's the only kind I should care about.
Oh, I quite agree with you. Of all the criminals one might be called upon to defend, give me the enterprising burglar. What do you think, Mr. Raffles?
I suppose it must be the most amusing branch of the business.
Oh.
I mean, amusing for the people who do it, not for the people who get burgled.
Amusing? In what way?
Well, I imagine these things.
Imagine them.
Well, I imagine that for some people there must be some sort of excitement, a thrill in pitting themselves against the best brains of the law, in much the same way that I get my excitement out of pitting my skill as a bowler against the best batsman in the land, don't you think?
Yes, well, I'm not very amused by the antics of Mr. William Sykes.
Ah, but he was prehistoric, and no gentleman.
Then who would you say is the reigning king of the burglars?
Oh, I should say the man who stole the Lochmaben tiara.
Oh, really? I know him well.
I beg your pardon?
What? You know the thief?
Oh, no! I just meant I know Lord Lochmaben, or rather I know his son, Ali. I used to play cards with him at one time. Bunny, too, of course.
It is rather a coincidence that you should know Lochmaben.
Is it?
Yes, I believe you also know the Milchester people, where Lady Melrose had her necklace stolen.
Yes, I was staying there at the time.
We believe it to be the same man.
Really?
Yes, the crimes are both in the same style.
I suppose there is a slight similarity, but surely it's hardly enough to found a theory on.
Well, it's just that the coincidences come so thick and fast, it's impossible to ignore them.
For example?
Well, let me quote a third case. The theft of the St. Agnes cup from the British Museum.
Good heavens, has that been stolen?
It has.
I saw nothing about it in the newspapers.
No, there was very little about it in the newspapers.
We were looking at it only the other day.
And it was stolen the very next day.
Well, bless my soul.
And that's why my father has jumped to his wrong conclusion.
Conclusion? What conclusion?
Well, Mr. Raffles, my process of thought. It starts with the kinship between the theft of the Lochmaben tiara and the Melrose necklace and the St. Agnes cup. We think that all three crimes were perpetrated by the same man.
Do you think so?
There seems to be a sort of similar brilliance.
I only wish I could meet him.
Well, that might be easier than you think.
What, you mean he might be in the house now?
What a jerk if he were. What?
Well, it would be quite in keeping with the character of this man, so far as we know it, to pay a call on the chairman of the Criminologists Club and to choose an evening when he happens to be entertaining the members.
Yeah, it's quite in keeping. One sees a certain wit in all his doing.
He might be robbing us now. What a terrible thought.
Hardly possible.
Yes, it is a bit far-fetched.
Well, Father, send someone to make sure. Send Leggett.
Leggett.
Yes, my lord.
Oh, I know, I'm being silly, but...
That's all right, my dear. Leggett, would you just send upstairs to make sure that all the doors are open and all the rooms in proper order?
Yes, my lord.
Well, how did we get into this burglarious backwater?
From the mainstream of murder. It was you, Thornaby.
Oh, yes, we were talking about styles of crime, which is within the normal area of our discussions. You see, Mr. Raffles, we believe, that is, we criminologists, believe that every crime has a signature appended, as recognizable as when a man signs his name.
Really?
Yes, as identifiable as the work of a great artist. In exactly the same way, it must have been done by X and no other.
How interesting.
According to our theory, there is only one artist in England who could have committed certain crimes.
Oh? Who?
Well, ha! Thornaby.
Well, Mr. Raffles, our idea was laugh, if you like.
I beg your lordship's pardon.
Yes, what is it, Leggett?
I beg your lordship's pardon, but I think your lordship must have forgotten.
Forgotten what, might I ask?
Locking your lordship's dressing-room door behind your lordship, my lord.
What?
Been up myself, my lord, seen for myself. Bedroom door, dressing-room door. Seems they're both locked from the inside, my lord.
Locked on the inside?
Yes, my lord.
By whom?
Excuse me.
Well, how extraordinary of them to leave the table like that.
It might be amusing to see why.
I suppose it might.
Shall we go and see?
All right, Williams, you can leave it to me.
You'll never do it.
What the devil is holding it?
Wedge and gimlet, I should think.
Something out of one of your novels, Barrington.
One more go.
It's no good, Thornaby. If it's a wedge and gimlet job, you may smash the door, but you'll never force it.
Well, then I'll smash it.
No, listen to me. Is there a ladder in the place?
Why?
Is there?
Well, I think there's a rope ladder somewhere in case of fire.
Do you know where it's kept?
Leggett, do you know where it's kept?
It's on the top landing, sir. Shall I bring it down? Williams will fetch it, my lord.
Hello? What goes on?
No, leave it where it is.
Why? What do you want it for?
Williams will put it out of the window and I'll climb down. We'll have your doors open in 2 twos.
Well, all right, but for heaven's sake, be careful.
Williams, wait a minute.
Dashing fellow.
Oh, I hope he doesn't hurt himself.
Rather him than me. I've no head for heights.
Our friend Parrington takes more kindly to all this than I do, I can tell you.
grist to his mill.
Exactly. We shall have the whole damn thing in his next novel, I suppose.
I shall hope to have it at the Old Bailey first.
Criminal work in London for you, Kingsmill.
I should be delighted to make an exception for this case.
Once they've caught the criminal.
Assuming there is one. I mean, we don't yet know there's been any crime at all.
Well, why else should anyone bother to lock the door?
Were there valuables in your bedroom?
Oh, yeah, studs, cufflinks, that kind of thing, and then there was some cash in one of the drawers.
Ah, cash, eh? Any burglar would be glad to have that.
Yeah. The man I'm thinking of would have been more interested in the jewellery.
Correction. The man you were thinking of.
Yes, that's true.
Yes, well, the burglar must have been at work while we were downstairs having dinner.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Father.
Well, I'm glad someone can find something to laugh at.
But your face is so funny.
Is it?
So disappointed and cross when you ought to be pleased.
Should I be pleased about a burglary?
Oh, you don't know there is one yet.
Hello.
I got in.
Oh, good man.
How's work? It's a Western Jubilee job.
Can you manage it?
Yes, of course.
Refreshing to find a man of letters, such a man of action, too.
Show me a minute.
Does he write about burglars?
Murders, mostly.
Ah, just wondering if he tried things himself first.
Not murders. At least I don't think so.
Come on in. Awful mess, I'm afraid.
Well done, Parry.
What is it?
A mess.
Yes, indeed it is.
God, Lord, it is...
Leggett, get Rampole, will you? He's the only man who can tell us where everything is.
Rampole, yes, my lord, straight away. Fetch Rampole for his lordship, will you?
This trunk is empty. Did you have anything in it?
My peer's robes and coronet complete. What a rum thing to steal.
One place to keep them.
Oh, you may say so, but where would you stable your white elephants? I've worn them once in my life. The second time would have been the Jubilee, I suppose.
Well, what earthly use could a burglar have for your peer's robes and coronet? I mean, he could hardly hope to attend the Jubilee in your place.
Well, if that's all he's taken, he's a very benevolent burglar. Ah, Rampole, go through my belongings, will you, and see if anything else has disappeared.
Yes, my lord.
And then come and let me know. Leggett, you better telephone the police and tell them what's happened.
Yes, my lord, straight away.
And you needn't mention anything about the Criminologists Club.
But surely that's a vital clue.
Yes, I suppose so. All right, Leggett, you can tell them. But don't make us look like fools.
No, my lord, I'll try.
Oh, in the meanwhile, I suggest we go back to the dining room and finish our dinner.
Good idea.
Eh, Raffles?
Indeed. And we can drink to the health of the gallant Mr. Parrington.
Oh, my dear fellow, it was nothing.
I think we should rather drink the health of the gentleman we were discussing at dinner. For we owe it to all our instincts to assume that the burglar was he.
I wonder.
Well, I'm sure of it, my dear fellow.
Thanks,
my dear Barry.
Still dinner, what?
Yes,
The audacity is his, and his alone. I look no further than the fact of his honouring me on the very night when I tried to entertain my brother criminologist. Now, that is no coincidence, sir, but a deliberate irony that would have occurred to no other criminal mind in the country.
You may be right.
Oh, I'm quite sure of it. No other criminal in the world, yes, in the world, would have crowned so delicious a conception with so perfect an achievement.
Beg pardon, my lord.
Yes, what is it, Rampole?
You asked me to let you know what else was missing.
Well?
Nothing, sir.
Oh, nothing at all?
No. Apart from your robes, my lord, and your coronet.
All right, thank you.
The police inspector asked if he could come in for a moment.
Well, if no one has any objection.
No, we'd be interested.
Ask him to come in, will you?
Yes, my lord.
I've reason to think that that man has been neglecting his duties up there.
You don't think he's the thief?
Oh, good heavens, no, just idle. Mind on women.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Woodward, Scotland Yard. Lord Thornaby.
Good evening, Inspector. Well, what have you found?
Well, the robbery took place between 8:15 and the half hour.
Now, how do you know that?
Well, your man Rampole was in your dressing room until close on the quarter.
Was he? I'm very glad to hear it.
And all was as it should be when he left the room. Besides, the burglar had wrapped up a clock in a towel as if to carry it away, then changed his mind at the last moment and slung it on a chair.
Oh, what does that prove?
Well, the clock had stopped at 8:20.
Yes, but that's hardly proof, Inspector.
Well, I agree, sir, but it does fit in with everything else.
At a time when we were making inroads on our saddle of mutton.
Exactly.
Do you think the man was hiding in the house?
Impossible to say, my lord. He's not in the house now, that's for sure. My men have been over every inch of it.
Inspector, we are all by way of being, how shall I put it, interested in criminology.
So I understand, my lord.
And we tend to believe that the perpetrator of this amusing outrage can be no other than the swell mobsman who relieved Lady Lochmaben of her tiara and Lady Melrose of her necklace. There are certain resemblances.
Yes, I think your lordship may have hit the nail on the head.
And there is another crime you may not have heard about. The St. Agnes cup.
The what, my lord?
A medieval gold cup which was stolen very recently from the British Museum.
Ah.
And there wasn't much mention of it in the newspapers, quite deliberately. But only a couple of days after the theft, the cup arrived at Buckingham Palace in a biscuit tin with a card saying, "A Jubilee present."
Oh, God heavens! Well, how incredible!
Incredible, but true.
Well, what did the Queen do? Did she act as a receiver of stolen goods? I hope.
Yes, she decided that she would keep the cup.
Oh, good.
And that she would keep it in one of her museums, the British. Anyway, I would say it's the same man.
Yes, my lord.
And frankly, Inspector, I don't care if you never catch him.
There goes. Good night, Inspector.
By the way, Raffles, are you a member of the Athenaeum?
I have not that honor.
Oh, I don't know about that. I wondered if you'd care to join. I'd be happy to put you up, and I have a number of friends on the committee.
They were all over you at the end.
Yes? The QC promised me a seat at any trial I might care to attend. The novelist spoke of a presentation set of his books.
In fact, they did everything except apologize for their unworthy suspicions.
Unworthy.
It was proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that it couldn't possibly have been you, and therefore it couldn't have been you who stole the cup, and so forth.
Well, that was useful.
Oh, it wiped the slate clean.
Do you think so?
They'll eat out of your hands for the rest of their days.
Good.
Oh, where are you going?
Just to put on a smoking jacket.
Oh. Though at one stage you were skating on terribly thin ice.
Was I?
Oh, I began to think you were putting your head in the lion's mouth just for fun, and I was there to see the fun.
I like to be there to see the fun. Wouldn't you say that this was fun?
Thornaby's?
No, the cleaning ladies.
But you can't have taken it.
I and no other.
From Thornaby House?
From that very place.
But it's impossible. You were having dinner at the time. I was there and I saw you.
And the Criminologists Club saw me, and they know, like you, that it's impossible. But here are the robes and the coronet to prove the opposite.
Well, how?
Ah, magic, my dear bunny, magic.
No, seriously.
All right. Seriously, then. Remember the time I spent staring out of your bedroom window through your race glasses? The most useful time I ever spent. By great good luck, one of the rooms that you could see into was the room in which the master of the house raised himself in all his knightly glory. The nuisance was, his valet was always there. He stays behind to put things straight and folds the clothes much better than I've ever done. But I had to get him out of the way. Because it was that room that I particularly wanted to get into.
How could you do that?
Through the window.
How? It's on the first floor.
My own invention. You take off the end. And you do that. And then you pull. Pull. And you keep on pulling and pulling. And then onto the end you fit a hook, which is jolly handy for hooking onto pipes or whatever else you find to hook onto. And then onto the hook you fit a length of knotted rope.
Well, how long did the whole thing take you?
Tonight, all in all, 5 minutes from Mother Earth to Mother Earth.
What, do you mean to tell me you climbed up and down, in and out, broke into that cupboard in that big tin box, pinched the robes and the coronet, wrapped up the clock, pulled out all the drawers, built studs and all the rest of it, and all in 5 minutes?
No, of course I don't, and of course I didn't.
Then what do you mean, and what did you do?
Made 2 bites of the cherry bunny. I took my first bite late last night, when everyone had gone to bed, and I could take as long as I liked. Of course, I was a very good boy. Left everything neat and tidy exactly the same way that I found it, except I took the robes.
You mean you went up there again tonight?
Yes. Tonight, my problem was that valet. I had to find out something about him, so I did. And I sent him a telegram from his best girl, saying she would meet him on the corner at 8 o'clock. Of course, he pretends he was still in the dressing room at 1:15, as usual. But as a matter of fact, Lord Thornaby left the dressing room 1 minute. His valet followed the minute after. And I entered through the window the minute after that. All I then had to do was rag the room a bit and make it look as though I'd taken the rotten robes tonight. Climb down the rope and chuck it into the back of a passing crowd. And I was standing, ringing the bell at the front door at 5 minutes to 8.
By George, it's the biggest thing you ever did in your life, Raffles.
Well, I've convinced those dear criminologists that it couldn't possibly have been me. There must have been some other chap, but they've been perfect asses to confuse with me.
You've done a miracle, Raffles.
Yes, perhaps. But do you mind if I turn you out now, Bunny? I'm fed up with excitement and I'm short of sleep.
Oh, of course.
And I've promised to take Lady Alice to net practice in the morning.
Oh, very well. I'll be off. Oh, Raffles.
Yes.
What are you going to do with the robes?
Well, they're no use to me.
Want me to buy another biscuit box?
No, wouldn't be half big enough.
What then?
My daily woman has been on at me for some time now to buy her one of those newfangled kinds of carpet sweepers with a pump type cleaner. I think it's time I did her that kind.
And you want me to get it?
Yes. They come in big, plain cardboard boxes with no identifying marks, which afterwards you can leave in the cloakroom at Charing Cross Station.
And
send Lord Thornaby the ticket in plenty of time for the Jubilee.
Good night, Raffles.
Good night, Bunny. Rather fetching.